Grief has no stages in heaven, a metaphysical correction. Grief is the ego's echo, its mourning song for something that never truly lived. In the world, we are taught to walk through 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, blame, depression, acceptance. But what if grief was never meant to be climbed like steps on a broken staircase? What if the only real step is the one the ego most avoids, acceptance of what is? Because what is, just is. It needs no permission to be real. And it needs no funeral. There was a man whose wife went overseas on assignment. She was the kind who'd jump into danger if it meant saving someone else. One day she did just that. She tried to protect another life, and it cost her her own. She was taken by men in a foreign country and executed. The footage of her death was captured on surveillance, and he watched it. He saw her go limp on a screen he could never unsee. And so came the stages. Denial first. He refused to believe it. Then came rage, so deep it left claw marks in every room he entered. He cursed God. He cursed the world. He blamed the country, blamed her, blamed himself. Then the weight of what happened collapsed on his chest. He said, "It's like I'm drowning, but I keep waking up for more water." His therapist told him he was making progress. She said he had finally reached depression. Only one more stage to go. But what if healing was never meant to be measured in stages? What if acceptance isn't the end, but the only true beginning? What if real acceptance is not saying, "I lost her," but realizing what God created cannot be lost? The ego calls this blasphemy. It says it's too soon, too detached, too cold. But the Holy Spirit is not cold. He is clear. He is calm. He is certain. In Workbook Lesson 99 it says, "Unshaken does the Holy Spirit look on what you see, on sin and pain and death, on grief and separation and on loss. He sees what we think we see. But he knows it isn't real." In Workbook Lesson 284 it declares, "There is no grief with any cause at all." This isn't a denial of pain. It's the exposure of illusion, because illusions grieve illusions. But spirit simply remembers, and remembers joy. Text chapter 29, section 6 places grief beside murder, danger, madness, and death. These are not sacred companions. They are dreams within a dream. And dreams do not deserve altars. So what do we do with this story? What do we say to the man who watched love's image fall? We say this: the Son of God cannot die. What God joined is still joined. What love created remains untouched. In Workbook Lesson 152 it asks, "Can pain be part of peace or grief of joy?" The answer is no. There is no compromise in God. The ego wants steps. It wants rituals. It wants time. But truth does not require process. It only requires willingness. Willingness to see differently. Willingness to feel what's under the grief. Willingness to stop defending the dream. Text, chapter 11, section 3 calls grief a guest. Not a native of the kingdom, not a citizen of reality, just a visitor. And visitors do not stay. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is your inheritance. Workbook Lesson 162 says joy is available to all as remedy for grief and misery, all sense of loss. Not as a reward after the stages, but as the undoing of the belief that stages were ever needed. Grief is not holy. It is a symptom, a defense, a fog that forms when the light feels too sudden. But you can walk into that light now and skip the line. You can step out of the grieving room not because your love wasn't real, but because love cannot die. The man who watched the screen eventually stopped talking about stages. He started speaking about presence, not hers, but his. The Christ in him began to remember, and grief became unnecessary, not because it wasn't felt, but because it was never true. He stopped asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and started wondering, what if nothing actually happened? In heaven there are no coffins, no funeral songs, no moments of silence. Because in heaven, nothing ends. The world teaches us to mourn what is gone. The course teaches us to rejoice in what was never lost. And so, let us not walk through grief as though it were sacred terrain. Let us walk through it as one walks through smoke, knowing it cannot choke the Son of God, unless he believes in the fire. There is no fire. There is no loss. There is no grief. Only God. Only love. Only now.